also collectible as no-fault benefits in the case of a death of an individual. Now, how do you go about collecting these no-fault benefits should you become involved in an accident? You contact your insurance company, as Steve has earlier indicated, and you report the accident, and you advise them of the date and time and the location. They will send to you, generally speaking, what we refer to as an application for no-fault benefits. All of the insurance carriers that are writing insurance in the state of Kentucky use basically the same no-fault form. This particular form is prepared in such a way that any layperson can fill the form out. It basically asks for your name, address, age, social security number, where the accident occurred, how the accident occurred, and other basic questions related to the accident itself. The form includes specific questions about what medical bills you've incurred, what doctors you've seen, what hospitals you've been admitted to since the accident, and they want to know specifically what lost wages you've incurred and with what employer. They will also need, and it's included as a part of the no-fault form, what we refer to as a medical authorization and a wage verification authorization. And what both of those are simply authorizations that you're giving to the insurance company by your signature to gather appropriate medical information and lost wage information so that they can verify the fact that you did incur lost wages and you did incur medical bills from the accident. Now, you need to cooperate fully with your own insurance company, as Steve has already indicated to you earlier. Most certainly, your insurance company will ask for, generally, some type of tape statement or written statement from you as to how the accident occurred, and you should provide that information to your own insurance company. Don't sign any documents until you've fully read those documents and you understand the documents. Don't proceed with the settlement of any portion of your case in full unless you completely understand what you're doing, and if you don't understand, then seek out the advice of an attorney. Now, other than no-fault benefits, other damages that you can sustain in the accident that you may want to talk with your own insurance company about would include property damage if you have full coverage on your vehicle. By full coverage insurance, I mean that you've got a provision for collision loss, meaning that the insurance company that you've got your insurance with pays for any loss to your car regardless of fault. If you have that situation, your insurance company is, generally speaking, going to want estimates of the damage to your vehicle. They will want to look at the vehicle, and you should cooperate fully in that respect. If you have a provision in your insurance policy that will allow you to get a rental car, then talk with your insurance company about this and proceed to get a rental car. Be careful in getting a rental car. Lots of people think that they can automatically get a rental car in a situation where they've got property damage to their vehicle, but they don't have a provision within their policy that will necessarily pay them back from their insurance company for that rental car. It may be that you've got to collect that particular damage from the vehicle that may have caused the accident, which leads to a segment of our discussion here today that Mr. Ed Lorenz is going to talk to us about, the issue of whether or not we can sue if we're involved in an accident and we've collected no-fault benefits and even possibly some property damage from our own carrier. Ed?
Thank you, Jim. As Jim suggested, the portion of his program dealt with no-fault benefits, and you are entitled to collect no-fault benefits regardless of who's at fault. The portion of the discussion I'm handling has to do with fault concepts, or who may be at fault, and whether or not you can sue somebody if you believe they are at fault in an automobile accident. Everybody is required in Kentucky who operates an automobile vehicle to have certain minimum liability insurance. They are required to have a minimum of $25,000 per individual and $50,000 per accident, covering their vehicle for any fault damages they may cause to somebody else. The $25,000 means per individual means that there's one person injured in the automobile accident, you could be liable up to that $25,000. If there's 2 or more people injured in an automobile accident, the maximum amount to be recovered would be $50,000. You certainly have the option to purchase additional amounts of insurance, and unlike the no-fault provisions, there's really no maximum. It's really between you and your insurance company how much liability insurance you can purchase. If you are involved in an automobile accident and you feel that somebody else is at fault for this, what may you recover? Well, as Jim suggested, you may recover for the damages to personal property. If you do not have coverage through your own carrier, you can sue the person who is responsible for causing these damages without regard to some thresholds, which I'll be getting to in a minute. In addition to property damages, you can recover for personal injuries that you may suffer. If you are injured, you must meet certain thresholds before you can sue the responsible party. The thresholds are that if you have incurred medical expenses in excess of $1,000, now this doesn't necessarily mean you have to take that $1,000 out of your pocket. It only means that you must have incurred medical expenses in excess of $1,000, even if it's paid by some other insurance carrier or some state aid or some Medicare or other provider. In addition, if you have a fracture of a bone, a permanent injury or permanent disfigurement, and of course death, these are all the threshold requirements, and once you meet any of these, you can then sue the other person who you consider at fault. If you are injured in an automobile accident, what you can recover, unlike no-fault benefits, you can recover again for any medical expenses that may not have been covered under your no-fault benefits. You can recover for lost wages, and that includes past wages and any future wages that reasonably may be incurred as a result of the injuries suffered. You can also recover for pain and suffering. This is usually a very large element of what you sue for, because there's really no other means to recover for pain and suffering other than through the lawsuit process or making a claim against the other insurance carrier. You can recover for the pain and suffering you've had in the past from the accident up to the date that you were awarded